The floor is yours, Gary.
Okay. Well, welcome to March 2nd, 4:32 p.m. Meeting for the Washington County Fair Board. At this time, I'd like to put a call to order. And since we have all members present, we're fortunate. The next phase is oral communications 1. This is the time when members of the audience may address the board. Opportunity is limited to 2 minutes per individual. Maximum time for oral communication period 1 is 10 minutes. We do have another oral communication period 2 at the end where you can speak for 5 minutes. Speakers may only select one oral communication opportunity. At this time, is there anybody that would like to address the board?
If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand and we can, oh, there's Chair Harrington. Hold on.
Right on.
Go ahead, Chair Harrington.
Good afternoon. So currently I can only see 3 of the committee members. So I was wondering if you could possibly do a roll call so members of the public know which board members are in attendance. Thank you.
We can definitely do that. All right, Gary Seidel's here. Andy Dyke.
I'm here.
Bill Ganger.
Here.
Bob Rollinger.
Here.
Thanks, Bob. Ajoy Navin.
I'm here.
Mitch Newsenbaumer.
Yeah, I am present.
And least but most
Yes,
most acknowledged
yes, Gary,
is
I'm
Jerry
here.
Willie.
Yes, Gary, I'm here. Thank you, thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, so we got the whole board is here. Is there any members that would like to address the board for oral communications period 1?
I don't see any hands, Gary.
Okay. At this time, we'll move on to reports. We would like to look at the financial reports for December and January.
So the December 2021 and January 2022 financial reports are in your packet. And they are our year-to-date financials through January. I hope you all had time to review them, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to note that we did receive our funding from the state Oregon lottery funds. Those came in at the end of December, the traditional $53,167 that we get each year from the state from lottery funds did arrive for our annual allocation.
Perfect. Are there any questions on the financials?
Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, Gary. Leah, as the report shows, we budgeted $237,000 at TLT money. We are already over that. Have you got any kind of a projection of what the rest of the months look, February through June?
So finance usually gives me the projections for that. And they, the last time I spoke with them when we put in our mid-year budgets for, the numbers are tracking up. Last communication was that they were going to come in 5% higher than budgeted, but it looks like we've already gone over that. So I think that, you know, we're seeing a trend that we're, you know, travel is returned and things are starting to get back to the new normal and the TLT dollars are trending up, but I haven't received any new updated projections from finance for the remaining months at this point. As soon as I get those projections, I'm happy to send them out to you.
Yeah, I was noting that, you know, our year-to-date total revenues and total expenditures, actual are significantly better, of course, than we budgeted. So that's a good thing. So we're going to end the year in a pretty positive fashion. So I just wanted to note that.
Yeah, we had a good year with the fair last year.
Any other questions on the financial report?
Gary, I've got one.
Go ahead, Bill.
Open class, they have premiums. I don't see the number right now because I don't see the page, but due to the fact I'm the only one here and I'm lucky to even be on Zoom. Does that roll over for year to year? Like, like 36,000 last year, we didn't have a show. Is it 72,000 this year or just a 36?
No, and dollars don't roll forward. And remember that last year's budget, when we put the budget together, we didn't know if we were having a fair or not. So we put
Right.
together the budget based on the 2019 4-day fair when we had an open class show. So just because we didn't spend open class dollars last year doesn't mean that those money roll forward and there's new money allocated to do that.
The question was asked to me and I want to get a clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, unused dollars in the budget don't roll over into the next fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll move for acceptance.
Okay, we got a motion to accept the financials. Looks like
Second.
Jerry is going to second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye.
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 Okay, financials are approved. Moving on. Fair Board Education Fund update. Bob?
I was in Florida for the last meeting, but
Okay,
I can report that I got an email that we have applications for 2 new members from Intel, which sounds really good. We need more people on that board. And they've done some investigation on catering, and it looks like they like Reedville. Both Pat and I met with Ken Estes and went over a list of potential donors that we're going to divvy up and start calling on. So everything seems to be in motion.
So
That's
as a
it.
reminder, when he's talking about catering, the Educational Fund is having a casino night fundraiser on May 7th. Is that correct, Bob?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm thinking everybody knows what I'm talking about, the casino night. Yes.
So
it-
please mark your calendars for the Educational Fund Casino Night. Hopefully you can all attend. I think, Bob, is your group selling tickets?
Is what we're gonna do, but the last I heard was it was gonna be all online. So I'm waiting to clarify that at our next meeting, but they wanna try to do it that way.
And then just one reminder, because it hasn't happened in quite a while, when you have applications for new members to the Educational Fund, that does need to come before the Fair Board to be, for those members to be approved.
Okay.
any other questions on the Fair Board Educational Fund update? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee, FAC, for an update. I know we got a meeting coming up, but
Yes, so we haven't had a meeting recently, so there's nothing new to report at this time, but the next Fairgrounds Advisory Committee meeting is March 17th at 4:30 p.m. It will be a virtual Zoom meeting. And I just got notification Monday that the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee Chairman Daniel Pearson, who has been on the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee for quite some time, had to resign because he got a new position and is moving to Austin, Texas in a couple of weeks. So Vice Committee Chair Stephen Nagy is stepping in that role. And then at the meeting in March, there will be a new committee election.
right on. Questions on FAC? With
Due to
that,
the fact
yeah,
that- I got a question. Due to the fact that masks are going away, things are opening up, is it coming pretty soon where we can see each other and have a meeting in one room instead of zooming?
So we will be able to go back to in-person meetings. I believe that the goal is at May 1st, we can start having in-person meetings again.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So hopefully our next Fair Board meeting, which is beginning of May, whatever date the first Wednesday in May is our next Fair Board meeting. So hopefully that can be in person.
I would sure welcome that.
Good job, though. You're on Zoom, Bill.
And usually you're sitting with Bob, but you're not this time.
Oh, we're divorced now.
I was going to say, we can't go to Bob's place.
We're arguing over the steer.
Right on. Okay, moving on to old business. Let's go into County Fair 2022 planning update.
So I don't have too many things to update, but I'm just going to roll through a few things I just wanted to keep you informed on. Obviously, it's March 2nd, so things are moving right along for just planning in general. So the number one thing that we're doing the last couple of months is contracting, and it takes a lot of contracts and a lot of paperwork, virtual paperwork now, digital paperwork to get the fair done. So here's just a list of the contracts that are currently either just being done or are in process right now. And as a reminder, I sign contracts for up to $100,000, and everything over $100,000 is signed by our Fair Board president, which is Gary Seidel. So the thing that we are doing now is we are trying to get multi-year contracts instead of doing 1 year contracts every year, which is a lot of work. We are working on getting 3 and 5 year contracts where appropriate. So those types of contracts do exceed my budget authority significantly. So Gary will be signing on your behalf for things like 5-year janitorial contracts and 5-year portable restroom contracts. And the good thing is we can lock in pricing when we're extending out our contracts longer into the future, because as you all are very well aware of, is the costs are rising, and a lot of the bids that we're getting in are significantly higher than what we've paid in 2021, and is certainly way higher than what we paid in 2019. So getting these bids in is a little bit shocking on some of the pricing, but we all know that pricing and labor, and transportation, and all those good things have really gone up in pricing. So we're able to lock in some of these prices for a longer period of time. And I think that's it from a contracting standpoint. Any questions on contracting? And Gary, thank you for learning how to do digital signatures on contracting.
You bet. Glad to do that.
Used to be Gary would come into the office and sign them with a pen, and now he gets to sign them on DocuSign. So our plans for the Wingspan this year, the expo hall will feature the commercial booths and exhibits again like we did last year, and those sales are underway, and most of the vendors that were in the expo hall are returning, which is great news. But we're going to be expanding our programming in the Wingspan, and we are returning to the open class home arts, which is the quilts and the jams and the jellies and the cakes and the photography and the paintings and all that good stuff. And that will be held in the conference room. And the FFA, for any projects, non-livestock projects that they have, they will be on display in our conference room as well. Our meeting rooms, which are smaller in size, are going to be used as meeting space. The Sheriff's Department used one of the meeting rooms last year for their where their department staff met every day. It's where they had their security briefings and things. And then our janitorial staff will use one of the rooms as their break room as well. So those rooms are good for that. Any questions on Wingspan before I move on? I do want to note, yesterday I was analyzing some numbers of our attendance and looking to see how many people came through the Wingspan entrance, and 116,000 out of our just over 189,000 people, 116,000 came through the Wingspan, which I thought was pretty amazing. I didn't realize that that many people actually entered through the building, most of those coming from our parking lot across the street and from light rail. So that was a significant amount of people that went through the Wingspan and saw those exhibits, which is why those commercial vendors were so happy, and they're happy to return. The Cloverleaf building will be used for rich exhibits again this year. Their hearth exhibits, which is their non-livestock exhibits. 4-H will also be using that for their just general operations as their central meeting and gathering location. It'll be exclusive use for 4-H restrooms and showers. And then the Cloverleaf parking lot will be used exclusively for 4-H exhibitors and volunteers. Livestock and barns. Right now, our participation numbers for livestock from 4-H and FFA are not known. Gary Seidel and I met with 4-H yesterday, and they're hoping that they can get some rough numbers to us soon so we can start working on the livestock schedule and barn space planning. And if we need to be bolstering our livestock numbers with contract displays or petting zoos or pony rides. The Sheriff's Posse is committed to returning with their display, which was very popular last year. And the youth livestock auction produced by the Washington County Livestock Association, they have notified us that they will be back, and they are holding their auction on July 30th. Any questions?
Livestock. Any open class sheep, goats, beef this year?
So at this point, we are waiting to hear what the numbers from 4-H and FFA will be before we can really make decisions on whether we have the space for open class. So if we have space for open class or contract displays, we can do that. That's why we're hoping 4-H can get us numbers for what they believe will be their participation very soon so we can make those decisions.
Knowing that the horse people have moved to McBinnville, the facility is rather empty right now, and just 4-H and FFA sheep and beef, they don't have enough to fill all of it. So I've had several people on the open class side have called and want to know if that's available for us. We got it filled for 10 days, so we could cycle in and out, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I know. I had several livestock producers send out emails and call me. And so we're just, like I told them, we're committed to 4-H and FFA. We want to know what their numbers are so we can get them placed in to a schedule first. And so if they can all just hold tight until we can get those numbers. And once we get those 4-H and FFA participation numbers for livestock, then we can start scheduling our open class shows or contract displays.
Okay.
Leah, have we heard anything from the health department regarding if any of these species of animals are going to be terminal if they come to the fair?
We have not heard anything from the state vets department on that at this time. And I think that if there was going to be only terminal animals, they would have told us that by now.
Perfect.
I have not heard anything. They're usually really good about keeping in touch with us. So, and I just attended the Oregon Fairs Association managers meeting a couple weeks ago, and there was nothing brought up about that either. That's usually where we hear it first.
I want to report there's 18 market steers registered for the auction right now.
And
They
they're
made
all
it to the weigh-in.
and they're all 4-H. Isn't that correct, Bill?
I believe so.
Yeah. And the swine weigh-in is upcoming in April.
Right,
And then and sheep and goat in May.
right.
So we'll know more on market, but from a breeding stock standpoint, that's what we're asking 4-H to check into those numbers, check with their leaders to see, how many kids they've got in the clubs, how many realistically believe that they'll be bringing their animals to the fair, so we can start filling in for other displays for the benefit of the public.
Yep.
And then we just had a little bit of an entertainment staff retreat. We spent a day and a half on Monday and Tuesday meeting with our entertainment contractors and our staff about our plans for entertainment programming. The carnival is going to remain in the expanded area that they were in last year. The family stage is returning. The Growing Grove, which we didn't have last year, is actually going to return, but it's going to be rebranded and refreshed. We're looking at doing some new things for the Growing Grove, and it's actually going to be called the Backyard instead of the Growing Grove. The plaza is going to feature several large exhibits, and Super Science and Brad's Reptiles are returning. You all know how popular both of those exhibits are. Last year, we did not have Super Science because it was a hands-on exhibit, and with COVID, we didn't want to have any hands-on exhibits. And we had Brad's Reptiles in a much smaller footprint. So they're both those activities are coming back in their original larger formats, which I know our fairgoers will be happy to see. We're also developing 2 new entertainment areas west of the Wingspan because we have a lot of big grassy space that we can fill. Last year it was all fenced off because that area had just been seeded and it wasn't available for use. So we're excited about some new entertainment development that we can have there. We just booked actually just booked 2 large attractions yesterday. One is called Cool Dogs, which as you all know, when we have dog events at the fair, they're very popular. Cool Dogs is a new event out of Nevada that we have not seen before up in the Pacific Northwest. So we're excited they're going to be joining us. And then the really exciting area that we're putting on the west end of the Wingspan, on the outside on the concrete area we call the patio, we're bringing in an exhibit called Remembering Our Fallen. And it's a tribute to fallen soldiers. And it's a beautiful exhibit. And if you Google up Remembering Our Fallen Tribute Tour, they're doing a tour through the West Coast and they're hitting most of the big county fair and state fairs. And we are lucky that they are available for our fair. So that's going to be a really great tribute that we're having. And it's a really beautiful exhibit. So we're excited that that's coming in. So we got confirmed yesterday. And then the Tap House, which has been, go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry's got his hand up, Leah.
Will that be for 10 days or will that just be for us kind of a specific shorter version of number of days?
All 10 days.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
And we're
Thank you.
actually, they asked us to, some things that other venues have done is they've had veterans do a motorcade, like escort them into town and do like a kickoff and have local veterans groups that set up and have representation with the exhibit. So that's something we're going to be working on. We haven't had the opportunity to do this kind of exhibit before. You know, I've been here almost 22 years and we've tried to get the Vietnam tribute. We've tried to get the 9/11 tribute and it's never worked out. And so that we're getting this tribute to our fallen soldiers was really exciting yesterday. So our staff is really excited about that. It's something we've been working on for a really long time and we finally got that. So we're excited.
The VFW I'm hoping you're reaching out to VFW because they're pretty active around here. So
yeah,
we'd be glad to do that.
Yep, we've got 2 active clubs with the VFW that we're going to be in contact with, as well as the Wounded Warrior Project, and some Boy Scout groups also want to be involved. So I think that we'll have lots of participation and interest in that exhibit.
Great.
And if any of you have any ideas of other groups, please let me know. And then lastly, the Tap House, which we've had for about 10 years, we think a Tap Houses 10 years ago were kind of the new hot thing. And we think that the Tap House has served its purpose and it's now going to be rebranded and refreshed along with the Growing Grove. So the Tap House and its associated music venue are going to be, it's going to be in the same location, but it's going to be redone with a new theme and new entertainment offerings and some new exciting things that go along with that. So more to come as we develop and get more information on that and really start nailing down, what exact acts are going to be on, but our bigger attractions are booked and we're excited to have them on board. And that is kind of my wrap up for fair planning.
Jerry's got another hand.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, just I remember last year the Elks had a pretty good display area there. Are they going to be back and do that this year again?
They just contacted us today. They had a Elks board meeting last night and the Elks board of directors is interested in returning for their sponsorship. So they reached out today, which was great. And we are working on a proposal for them. They actually had a great success at the fair. They were a little bit worried with their sponsorship, but they did it as a membership drive for their organization. And they gained over 200 new members into the Hillsborough Elks organization due to their direct promotion at the county fair.
That's really amazing. They are a very active, community supported organization. We're very blessed to have them and certainly their involvement. So I'm glad to see them coming back.
Yeah, we are too. And that is it for me from a fair planning update. And we can move right into 4-H if you're ready.
Yeah, 4-H, because I see Alice Phillips is here. So we'll go into 4-H. Alice?
I'm here. Can you hear me and see me?
We can hear and see you, Alice. Welcome.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. And hi, for those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm Alice Phillips. I've been serving in an interim capacity since our 4-H agent retired at the end of August. And I am pleased to announce that Alan Taggart has accepted the new 4-H faculty position here in Washington County, and he'll be starting March 21st. And he currently holds a similar 4-H position in Ada County, Idaho, which is where Boise is. So we're really excited to be welcoming him to our Washington County team. As Leah mentioned, there are weigh-ins coming up, and the next one is swine, and that's Saturday, April 9th, 8 to 10 a.m. at the fairgrounds. So if any of y'all are free and available to come and check it out, it's a really great opportunity to meet volunteers, meet some 4-H and FFA kids, and learn about all the work that they do over the entire year to get ready for the fair. So today I'm here to present a funding request, and I know that you all have the letter and the budget there in your packet. And the request is that we're asking for $12,420 to support the Washington County 4-H program at this year's 2022 Washington County Fair. And many of our expenses are lower this year due to fewer enrolled youth, and also because we had already purchased the ribbons earlier. And usually ribbons are about $7,000 cost, so that's a good amount of savings. We do have some higher anticipated expenses this year just because it is a 10-day fair, and we typically hire 4-H interns who are former Washington County 4-H members to be on staff at the fair. So that's something that we hope to have again at this fair. And so in the proposal, you'll see that the funding covers fair premiums for 4-H members, contest supplies, judges, and the cost of those interns. And we are really appreciative of this funding. We know it's a choice, and we really thank you, the Fair Board, for your support. And it's truly funding from the Fair Board to support 4-H at the fair really does make our volunteers and our members feel valued and appreciated. So I do also want to say we did meet yesterday with Gary and Leah, and we will be sending out an email tomorrow to our leaders to get those numbers on anticipated number of livestock for the fair so that we can have that to you in the coming weeks, because we know that's really important.
Thank you, Alice. We do really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any discussion on Alice's proposal?
Can I just interject? I just want to make a couple quick notes.
Yeah.
So in January, I presented the budget to you all, which you all approved. And in that budget, we have a line item for supporting 4-H costs. And in that budget that you approved, there is a $15,000 allocation that I call it a stipend. It's kind of probably more like a donation that since 2010, the Fair Board has, well, I guess the last 11 years, except we didn't last year. Last year, 4-H declined the donation. But so for 10 years, we gave 4-H a $15,000 donation for them to use for these expenses like Alice is listing out. Ribbons are expensive and judges. So back in 2010, the Fair Board made the decision that they wanted to contribute towards those costs. Costs were rising, and the Fair Board didn't contribute any direct costs to 4-H. Obviously, we still have costs, to support fair 4-H and FFA and all the things at the fair itself. So there are costs that the Fair Board has always paid for that way. But the Fair Board decided that, it was valuable and important to make a donation/contribution to 4-H, and that's where $15,000 has been donated historically. And that is in your approved budget that you approved in January. So I appreciate that Alice sent this and listed out all the things that they needed funding for, but just as a reminder that that $15,000 is already budgeted and approved.
Now, Leah, in the past, we've also added bedding for the 4-day fair. What's the chance of adding bedding for the 4-H kids coming in too?
So if we can get bedding, we provide it. Sometimes bedding is difficult to get and sometimes it's not. So That's a good reminder. I will have Albert start working on seeing if we can purchase bedding. It used to be that we got it donated for free, then we would buy it, then we couldn't find it, and we had the kids provide their own. And then the last few years, we've had some luck in getting it purchased and delivered again. So we'll work on that. And if anything changes on that, I will certainly communicate that. But I'm hoping that we don't have any issues with bedding.
Okay,
But that is outside of the $15,000. That's those charges that in the budget that we absorb. That's part of the cost of doing business for the fair, and it's not deducted from the $15,000 contribution that goes directly to 4-H.
okay. Andy,
Oh, I guess I have to turn my audio on. Certainly, I believe that we ought to be supporting it. I've always supported the 15,000. What I struggle with is just wondering what the attendance is and at what point it's justified and what point it's not. Now, I think our fairs are coming back this year. I expect it to be bigger than it was last year. Last year, we didn't even know if we were going to have a fair, so a lot of people didn't sign up, didn't bring their animals because they didn't have animals. I also think about the totality of how we support 4-H, and we do that through the provision of the use of the cloverleaf, the parking lot, all those things go with it. And then the 15,000 we budgeted was, I think, more or less for all these miscellaneous expenses that you've listed here. So I guess the only remaining question really is, what do we expect the attendance to be? And is the 15,000 justified because of that?
Yeah, I can answer as much as I can about attendance, and we do have lower enrollment for 4-H, and it's true for Washington County, for the rest of Oregon and the country. And I think it's probably about a third of the numbers that we had in 2019, where we had over 600 youth enrolled, and right now we're hovering around 200. And so in the next couple of weeks, we will be able to get you a better idea of numbers. But also this year, we do have beef that wants to come back and dairy that wants to come back. So we will have those folks back with us as well this year.
Long term, do you expect the outlook to be better for 4-H participation, or is it a declining organization?
Yeah, that's a fair question. We're optimistic, and I can say that our new person, Alan Taggart, one thing that he's really passionate about is growing the 4-H program, and specifically bringing in, he calls them first generation 4-Hers. So we're really looking to grow the program in new ways, and that includes the enrollment of kids who are livestock and hearth exhibitors, and also school-based and community-based programs as well. So we're hopeful.
Okay, thanks.
hey, Joy.
Yeah, probably this is a question for you. So from the January report, right? So there are two expenses listed out. So one is the 4-H expense and then the FFA expense. And then under the 4-H expense, so we had like $40,000, out of which 25,000 to be given directly to 4-H. Rest is for operating cost and expense, and then another 15,000 for the ribbons, judges, and premiums, right? So a little bit confused here, like which one is going to 4-H?
Yeah, the $15,000 is the direct contribution to Washington County 4-H. We write them a check, and then they use that money for ribbons and premium money and all the things that Alice just went over in that list that she submitted.
Yeah, and we would also, whether it's 4-H or FFA, we'll support both of them.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point. So FFA is a different program. They are a high school-based program, and there's traditionally less FFA participation than there is traditionally been 4-H. We'll hopefully be getting their numbers soon too. So we usually budget less for 4-H just because traditionally there's been less FFA, and they cost us less for their program. So we'll hopefully be getting their enrollment numbers soon as well.
Any other questions on the proposal?
Yeah, actually, this one's for Leah. Leah, since it's already budgeted, is there any action that's required on our part?
No, I don't think so, because you've already approved it. So other than, if you want to, just acknowledge, that you're supporting, 4-H is a valuable program and the Fair Board continues to support it, but you don't need to take any budgetary action. There's one thing actually I do want to know, and something Alice and our group talked about yesterday, and it's in the first paragraph of the letter where 4-H is requesting that all exhibitors access the livestock gate. And Gary and I explained that that is a violation of our biosecurity policy, and that only those who are registered livestock exhibitors will be able to access the gate. So we already cleared that part up. So I don't think that there's any action that needs to be taken, but we do really appreciate Alice taking the opportunity to put together this request. We don't normally get something this great from 4-H where they just say, hey, this is what we need. And this is, kind of a little bit of a program in advance. We usually get a summary post-fair with here's how the money was spent, here's all the great things that happened. So kind of seeing this up front was helpful. So thank you.
Okay, with that being said, Alice, it looks like your $12,420 has already been encumbered. So we're going to take care of that.
All right, great. Thanks, Gary. I see a hand here, not to take your job.
Oh, Mitch. Okay. Mitch, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
I'm having a hard time navigating the whole Zoom thing as well, and I can't find my self view. But no, I'm just really encouraged with one. I was to speak at the beginning, and really glad to be part of the board here with you guys. And I think I share Allison's optimism for a future of getting our 4-H numbers up with the new extension agent coming on board. I know that's a goal that we all share, and I guess our personal goal is just to bring the Fair Board and the exhibitors and get everybody on the same page to make our upcoming future Washington County Fairs a success for all. So, and I'm happy to hear the continued support of 4-H by this board.
That brings up a good, another good piece I wanted to bring up, and that was, Alice, thank you for inviting the Fair Board to participate in listening to the presentations for the potential 4-H agent prior to hiring Alan Taggart. I know Mitch took part, Bill Ganger did, I think Bob Rollinger did, and I did as well. And it was 4 great presentations. And I think that Alan was a great choice. So we're really excited that that is who OSU decided to go with. I thought his presentation was really great. But thank you for allowing us to participate. We do really appreciate that. I know I really enjoyed that process.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you all for watching. I know it was a lot of time. So I'm glad that you all were able to do that.
Yeah, thank you on Bill Ganger's behalf.
Thank you, Bill. You're welcome.
All right, Alice, we do look forward to meeting Alan also when he comes on board. So I know he should be here for possibly the May meeting, which we may be able to meet him then. That'd be great.
And it sounds like maybe in person too.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
all right, take care.
Excellent, thank you. All right, moving off to 4-H, we're going to move in there. Any other old business? Jerry.
I'd like it to be noted that I officially raised my hand, rather than waving at you, Gary. Okay, so technology doesn't get
That's a
past
first,
me.
Jerry.
I know. I saw everybody else. I said, hey, there must be one of those someplace up there. Anyway, we get to one of the fun things that we did a few years ago. Obviously, 2019 was the last time. We're going to do the pancake breakfast this year during the fair. Is that what we're thinking?
So that is a great question. I think we can do something. I don't know if it's pancakes or if it's maybe a lunch or hamburgers at night. That's something we need to work with 4-H on. Back in 2019 and the years before, when there was lots of kids and lots of activity in the morning, that was an easy thing for us to do. So I would absolutely love for us to do something, whether it's a pancake breakfast or, like I said, or a luncheon, or we provide dinner for the kids that the Fair Board produces. So let me work with 4-H to see what they would like you to do. I mean, even if it's handing out ice cream and popsicles, I don't know. So I do appreciate you bringing that up, because it's something that I meant to bring up as well, to see what it is that they would like us to do. If pancakes are what they want, then we can certainly make pancakes happen.
Yeah, or maybe, well, I guess we can't do an ice cream because that would be in conflict with the dairy folks doing their ice cream thing. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted us to do something. I really enjoyed that. It's kind of fun to see, you know, Gary Seidel with an apron, and, you know, that's something that usually doesn't fit him very well. So it's always good to see that.
You know, Jerry, maybe we just buy him ice cream at the Dairyman's booth.
At the Dairy Women's booth.
Dairy Women's booth, yes.
Yeah.
We can
So
do that. Thanks, Jerry, for offering that.
I think we need to look at the method of feeding these kids with the schedule of showing of animals, because they have a limited amount of time in the morning. And it all depends on how many numbers we have, how tight a schedule it is, where the meal has to be, and breakfast is quite essential.
I agree.
Well, I
So-
am an excellent pancake flipper.
Yeah, we'll make something happen. So we'll work with 4-H and figure out what the best method is. And I agree, 4-H is breakfast is really essential for the exhibitors in the morning, but sometimes they don't always have the time to stop and come over and get breakfast. So we'll work with 4-H to see what works best for them.
If there's blueberries there, they'll be there.
Well, those are always thanks to our illustrious marketing staff, Lisa Dupre and her family's blueberry farm.
That's right. Okay, well, you're going to be working on that with Alice, so that'll be great to get that taken care of, and we'll figure out what we need to do. Excellent. Let's move on to new business. Was there anything in new business?
Nothing from me, unless somebody has something they'd like to add.
Anybody have anything from new business? I don't see any hands, and I know Jerry knows how to use the raise hand chat now, so that's pretty good. All right, we'll move up to CAO update.
So I want to introduce you all to Rachel Fuller, and I believe I'm going to promote Rachel to a panelist. Rachel Fuller is our interim assistant county administrator, and I don't believe you've met her before. Rachel, are you with us?
Hi, Leah. Hello, Fair Board. It's nice to see you all. I am here to listen and learn, so I don't have an update, but as Leah mentioned, I'm serving as an interim assistant county administrator. Most recently, I was the city manager of Hood River, Oregon. Before that was assistant city manager in Gresham for about 7 years in the metro area. So right now I'm hungry after hearing about ice cream and blueberry pancakes and wondering how I can get some of those. So it's nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel. And I don't have any county administrative update either.
Okay. Then we'll move on to oral communications 2. As noted, this is the second opportunity. This time you get 5 minutes to be able to talk per individual, and we go for a maximum of 30 minutes. Is there anybody that would like to address the board?
Please raise your hand if you would like to address the board, and we can activate you. Oh, hold on, I've got a hand. Go ahead, Annabelle.
Yes, speaking about the breakfast and things, I know in the past, like at Horse Fair, I think I came and helped volunteer with serving. And I'm sure that we could get, you know, especially since I'm more involved in the hearth area, we can put out feelers if you all would like some help with that. And, you know, I personally would be glad to come and help again. And if, you know, if that's okay. And also I did put in the chat that I'm I think your last meeting, the horse people had said that, they're hoping that it's okay that they can bring some of their horses in during fair and do something. So I think that will help fill your barns as well. And be very glad to spread the word if you want help during the breakfast times or anything that you are doing in terms of feeding our kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board?
I don't see any other hands. I do have, there is a comment in the chat that went out to everyone, and it's a question from Ashley that if the meetings move to in-person in May, will we still have a Zoom option for members that can't make it to the meeting? And I will tentatively say we will do our best to do that. I believe we can offer a Zoom option while we're in person. That is something we will have to investigate, but I'm fairly confident that that is something that we will be able to continue to offer.
Looks like we had another question now.
And then Annabelle, like she just said, she put it in the chat as well, that 4-H horse has volunteered to bring in some horses. So I'll work with Alice on that to find out what that looks like from 4-H and how many animals and things like that. So we appreciate that reminder, Annabelle.
Are there any other questions?
There are no new hands.
Okay. Looks like our next meeting is May 4th, 4:30, and hopefully it'll be an in-person meeting. And with that, can I make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.